Welcome, I'm Jackie Malloy from Meaningful Aging Australia. As we begin today's session, as always, let's start with our acknowledgement of country. And as I do, you can also acknowledge the lands you are joining us from today in the chat. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. For the Meaningful Aging team, that's the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to elders past and present. We recognise their continuing connection to land and waters and the animals who live there, and to community. We honour the enduring strength and spiritual resilience of First Nations peoples. This month, we are joined by Christine Green, founder of Remember Press, an accessible system for capturing and preserving stories. Christine has had a lot of hats to wear over the course of her life, but in particular, she's been a teacher, a literacy specialist, and a book writing coach. And now her aim is to make a difference in aged care. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you, Jackie, very much, and really appreciate the opportunity to share my passion, I guess, with everybody here. And thank you so much, everyone, for um, coming and being here for this because I absolutely am passionate about, the story and how they get told and why we should record them and save them and turn them into books, of course. But yes, so is there an issue there that I think Renee?
No, no,
No?
that's fine.
Okay. All right. So, yes, and I thank you very much, Marnie and Jackie. You've been fantastic support and help, especially with the technical side of things. But yes, and I'm speaking and would like to also acknowledge the Muanina people and from Nipaluna, which is where Hobart now stands, and their ancestors past and present. And, of course, our Indigenous people, storytelling is one of their biggest loves and what they do religiously. So they understand the importance of it massively. And I'd really like to share my screen. Can I do that now? Can I sort of kick off? Okay. And I'll just, right. And we'll go to full screen so that, look, this is a group of people at the book launch of one of my clients. And so for me, it's where I started. Can I tell you, this is a true story, right? When my dad was in a retirement village and he was actually in a nursing home, and I used to go and visit him. But one of the things he used to do, he'd still be in his pajamas and he'd slip out, he'd escape and go down onto the highway and hitch a ride to the local bottle shop. And he'd pick up a bottle of whiskey, and the beautiful truck drivers would wait for him. And then he would get back into their truck. They'd drop him back off at the nursing home. And then the nurses would always be there at the front door waiting for him. Oh, and would take the whiskey off him and he'd go to bed and cry himself to sleep. And, my dad was incredible. He spoke 6 languages. He was the first policeman in Queensland to have a degree. He set up the first ever police college in Queensland. He wrote the police manual. And when he retired, he was head of ASIO for Queensland. And he knew everybody's secrets, including Bob Hawke's and Gough Whitlam's trips to Russia. And I never, ever thought at that time of getting dad's stories down. And that's what drives me now because I weep at the loss of what an incredible life that he had. So, and that's sort of what Remember Press is. And I'm here actually to hopefully help you. And I'd love to have conversations with you. There's so many of you here. So please, my details will be at the end. So please feel free to contact me to have a chat anytime. This is my legacy. And, like when you read this, Margaret, 89, born in Launceston, married, 3 children, worked as a nurse. But this is just one tiny part of her story, right? When I was 17, I nearly didn't marry John because I wanted to become an opera singer. And he waited outside my nursing school every Friday with a bunch of daisies until I finally said yes. So and this is in particular for carers and nurses and these age, it brings these people to life. And so this is really my mission, to help every older person be heard and remembered and celebrated, because books and doors are the same thing. You open them and you go through, and it's just, this is what it's all about. So this was my first ever book, and you can see me, right? Is that okay? Yeah. So see this. What's that? Nothing, because nobody recorded the story. But this is the book that Julie's holding that I created after, when she hired me to do this job and to record his story. He was so depressed, absolutely so depressed, and dying of emphysema, living on his own in the family home that he was born in. I'd say only in Tassie would that still be happening. But yeah, and that's Daryl there. And, he was just amazing. And when I first knocked on the door, because you might get a bit of, if you are sort of into this and you have family or loved ones or patients that you'd like to, that you can see there'd be a real, way of tapping into them and raising their mental health and well-being, which is what it does. When I first knocked on the door, Daryl said, well, what are you doing here? And I said, you know very well why I'm here. I'm here to tell your story. Let's get moving. And I'm really serious. He had the most amazing, amazing final year. He got the whole family involved. They were going on trips to graveyards and old stately homes that were mentioned in family, books and histories. And it was just incredible. And Julie, to this day, honestly thanks me for what I did. And when Daryl did die, I was mentioned 6 times in the eulogies. And I kept saying, it's not about me. I'm just the conduit, really. So, but it just goes to show that really how much people, when they actually see it, appreciate what this does. So, this is like a little bit of the backstory of how it helps, what it does. I mean, and this is all proven. The stats are completely there, that recollection and story sharing reduce depressive symptoms. And, my passion is to see this as an option in every aged care facility and business in the world, because we all are better when we have a job. And do you know what I'm saying? Because it gives us purpose and motivation and elevation. So one of the main things that I really want to impress on you all is, if you can write anything that you want to add into the chat, please do, please do. So is that every resident is a library, really, and they have 2 lives, one they lived and the one their stories allow to continue. But really and truly, I want to really to help you resonate with this is the best way, if you get someone who's a little bit distant or protective of themselves, do you know something? The best way to start any conversation is to tell a story about you, something that you think they might resonate with or, just connect with. So, but this is a really good system. So you might start before this with a little memory of yours as a child, or about your grandparents, or about your parents even, or what happened to you, your first job, and the memories that we live with that constantly bounce back into our brains. And when you get them moving, say, is this something that happened to you? And all of a sudden the floodgates will open. I'm serious, because this is how I work, and this is what really opens people up. And then just record their conversation on your phone, or on a laptop if you're sitting in a room with them, and then you can have it transcribed on Word, which has got the little microphone at the top right, and then sort of start to put it together as a book. And I have to say as well, that one really exciting thing is that Remember Press has been taken on board as a research project by the University of New South Wales of Sydney, and they're into it at the moment. So because I've designed a new landing page, which is going to have the app that's going to make it really cheap and really easy to record stories and then create beautiful books. So that's in the process of final development at the moment. So I'm really, really excited. And so are all the students. It's a phenomenal thing. I just feel so lucky. But here's some more, triggers and jogs that really might help. If you're up for it, like, just ask questions, but start with something from yourself. Really and truly, I find that is the best way. It's somehow they don't feel so, pressured. I was going to say attacked. They're not, feeling, but that people can be very hesitant if they ask something directly. But if you share something first, that opens up the doors. And yeah, and really and truly, yes, the normal thing is to divide our lives into seasons. You love this, spring, summer, autumn, winter. I hate autumn, winter. I'm not ever having autumn, winter. Can I tell you? I'm having spring and summer. That's it. And so you might like to think of that, and maybe share that even, and form a memory group with people if you're in aged care and working in facilities. Then I would just so love to see groups, set up in a room, where they can, when they do their books, have their libraries, but when they're actually developing their stories and everything, meet once a week and talk over how their stories are going, and what they've remembered, and so often, as you know, one memory leads to another, to another, to another, and all of a sudden these people are just amazing, and this is this is what this is the research that has absolutely captured the importance of this storytelling thing. And the fact that we've got so many here today, I want to thank you so much, all of you, and and I'm just trying to find, how do I find the chat? Girls, yeah, give me the chat. I want to see, because there's some people in chat there. And now it's gone. I can't. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm going to open up chat so I can see what you're saying. Yeah. So how do you manage consent with the client if there is cognitive decline? That is really, really tough, and it does depend on which state you're in. And I have to say, I'm going through this at the moment with a family member. In Tassie, we don't have you. It's almost impossible to get guardianship or power of attorney or consent without the actual client's consent. Oh, so someone asked, yeah, so it really does depend on what the laws are. Um, yeah. And look, I will give all my details at the end. I'm really happy to share this this whole screen thing. Hang on, wait till I'll get, yeah, to share my slide deck with you via email. It's a big file, so it'll have to come via mail, big file. But I'm really happy to share it so you don't have to take notes. You can just absorb all this and then get all the gold and everything that's here in the meantime. So yeah, anyway, yeah, so I'm really sorry about this. Now I can't close down. How do I close down the chat? God, excuse my ignorance of this here. Yeah, oh, I don't know. Anyway, yes, so Remember Press does also, and I tell you, if you are with an aged care business or you are an aged care business, what I've also developed as part of this is a yearbook because we've always had high school yearbooks, right? And then I thought, why don't we have business yearbooks? Because can you imagine what a fantastic marketing tool this can be to share your client wins, your staff wins, your challenges for every year. And, I mean, not just a marketing tool, but also to train new staff. You want to learn about business? Here, read our yearbooks. Like bang. So, I just see that as a massive plus for, for everybody really. And yes, and so this is, some of the statistics and everything. And yeah, and that's if I can get rid of this hang on, sorry about this. All right, so there's all my details. So please copy that down. And if you want the whole slide deck, I'm more than happy to share this with you and answer any questions to help you get cracking and going on doing this. If you do, when it is ready, which will be a few weeks yet, when the app is ready, if it's going to be subscriptions, so it's going to be really cheap and affordable, and as part of the legacy, 10% goes straight back to the aged care facility or business for every single person who signs up. So it's win-win-win. And yeah, and look, thank you. And hopefully you've got all that by now. And now I shall stop sharing and open for questions and discussions.
Thanks, Christine. I'd
Pleasure.
love to hear I'd love to hear some of the stories that you know. What's one of your favorites?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I go back to my dad, really. I mean, seriously. When he was in the nursing home, and I would visit him, and my brother used to visit him separately, and Dad would say, "Are the orphans still there under the bed? Can you see the orphans? Every time your brother comes in, the orphans slip under the bed. I just want to know that they're not still there." And I just think it's dementia, of course, but yeah. Oh, and for some of my clients. It's enormous. The difference it makes, because I don't have their permission to tell their names or anything, but one was amazing. This incredible lady who initially she was like a bit standoffish, a little bit. Well, they're all very protective, and I understand that, like, and they don't, and they can get very very shy about share, like they don't want to brag. A lot of that's how they were brought up as well, as you know. That whole generation we're told, you don't brag, you don't push your barrow in front of you. And so, yeah, and I would research through the family and ask the family, what did, what did Nancy do? What were her big wins, and what do you remember most? And then the family would get back to me with all these incredible stories. So at least I had a leg in, and I would say, I heard something about you the other day, and that, you actually had your own bloody ballet school, you champion, and you trained ballerinas. For God's sake, let's tell me about that. And then bang, off we went. And it was just, oh my God, yeah, ballerinas, training ballerinas, like really? Yeah, so and it really is. Everyone's different. Everybody's lives just, and until you start mining, those stories, you don't realize how much gold's there, really. And it is, and it is. And it doesn't have to be all, highlights and everything. It can be just some lessons that they learned as well that they want to pass on, and I use that as a lever too. Is there something that you would really like to tell your children? What's something that you've learnt in life that might stand, with them, to protect them or to help them understand, excuse me, their trajectories a little bit better. Yeah, so yeah, any. Hmm.
We've got a few questions in the chat.
Yep.
First one is a technical one. How are you managing data security?
Oh, yes. Well, it is. I honestly don't know. That's my back end guy, and he does all that. So I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry. I'd have to be completely open and honest about my lack of knowledge in IT and all of that. But my back end guy is amazing, and yeah, he's done all that. And that's one of the things as well that they are with the development with the University of Sydney students. They're masters in IT students, and they're finishing the app, so it really works, and they're deep into it at the moment. And that's one of the things that they're negotiating. And yes, so yeah, it's on the list, trust me. So yeah, okay. What tools do you use for someone who is non-verbal to hear their story? Oh gosh. Oh, how would we I don't know. Has anyone I haven't come across that yet. I honestly have not. What's this? Why is this going?
No, someone has accidentally shared
Mm,
their screen.
okay. All right. Yeah, there you
There
are.
we
There you're
go.
back. Yeah, thank you. Does anyone else have I honestly haven't come across this yet. Someone who's non-verbal. So I'll have to research that. Thank you very much. I will as well. Anyone here has any suggestions? And I love this from Ewa. We are all stories, living documents. We truly are. And look, yes, everybody's story is different, and everybody's story has highlights and lowlights. And look, don't feel that you have to focus totally on all the highlights, because sometimes the lowlights come with big lessons encapsulated in them. So, and while it might be a painful thing to remember, if that does happen and someone you're speaking to does come up with a painful memory, let them know, well, that was then. That they don't have to relive it. It's done, it's in the past, but treat it as a valuable lesson. And it takes somehow that takes the pain out of it. Because I think, you know, as humans we can focus too much on painful memories and relive that pain all the time. And you don't have to. You can develop sort of an attitude that really overlooks that and says, well, I've been through that pain. I don't have to feel it now. I can just see the lesson for what it was and be grateful for that. So, no, I haven't. Thank you, David. Chochinov, dignity therapy or reminiscence therapy. I'm definitely going to look that up as well. Yes. Yeah. And so Harry Seacombe. Yeah. Harvey Chochinov. Okay. And done. I will. Thank you so much. I love this. I love a two-way street. Like, yes. And if you want to talk, please, um, yeah, put your hand up and I'm sure Jackie will, link you in and unmute you. Yes. Okay. Non-verbal family photographs, religious objects, music or familiar belongings. Yeah, non-verbal. I'm definitely going to investigate that because it is something I haven't faced before. And yeah, and it's really fun. I have to tell you as well, with my clients and their families, so often when we kick off their sort of and then you can't shut them up. And it's like, wow, okay, slow down, because they get so excited. And that's what happened with my first one was Daryl. He just got the whole family involved. And yeah, oh, no, the question, yeah, how did you survive that experience or move on? Yes. Okay, and non-verbal folk respond to memories shared of their life many different ways. And sometimes, wow, well, yes. Oh, thank you, MZ Who, or sorry. Um, yeah, thank you for that. Non-verbal, wow. See, I love this. And look, really, you'll have my contact. Like, I'm open to learning more and more and more as well. Like, yes, I'm a book editor and I've been a newspaper editor in chief and journalist and literacy specialist and all of that. But this whole focus is reasonably new for me. And as I said, what really got me going was the grief of not collecting dad's memories and mum as well. Mum was an artist and she used to go off on art trips with her girlfriends. She had this group of girlfriends. They called themselves Zanembi, and that one was each of their initials. And they used to go over to Bribie Island and camp and stay with Ian Fairweather. And if any of you know of Ian Fairweather, he's one of Australia's top artists. And my mother ended up with two of his paintings, which we sold to really fund her getting into a really nice nursing home and everything. But the story she could have told as well, my God. And she was a bit wild. So yeah, like please, understand just how important it is. And I don't want anyone to go through the loss that I live with every day now. And my grandchildren have no clue about my parents and my young life with dad and mum and what the two of them did and mum had on top of everything, she was a potter as well, and she set up a kiln under the house and made the most beautiful pots and things. Like, yeah, it's all gone. But anyway, that's life. But I don't want anyone else to live with that. That's I guess my driver. So please feel free to contact me to yeah, and give me some tips as well, stuff that you've found. Life for me is always a two-way street. And it doesn't matter how good you think you are at something, you can always learn something new. So yeah. What's that? Yes, life story. Yeah. And this can't always be downplayed by taking it as okay, understand. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Ava, thank you for that. Yeah. Very, very wise as well. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And am I writing my own stories yet for my children and grandchildren? Thank you. I am, Sharon. I really am because I woke up a few years ago and I've been working on it, part of my life was I had 10 restaurants, very successful restaurants as an owner chef and my last one, Possums, was in New Farm in Brisbane, and I used to supply all the brothels and the gambling dens with food. The stories I could tell, and honestly, Mr. Big, who went to jail, used to have his business meetings in my courtyard. And the lawyers and QCs from the inquiry used to have their meetings in my courtyard and they throw napkins at each other. It was hysterical. It was the craziest time you have ever seen. And the barber next door to the restaurant used to keep his SP betting money in my cold room, pretending it was what's that? That cheese. Anyway, ricotta, pretending it was a big loaf of ricotta. It was like, but it was actually cash. I found out later. Like not then, I didn't know. I just thought, oh yeah, he's putting his ricotta in my cauldron. That's fine, Carlo. That's fine. But anyway, yes. So yeah, and I can record memories of my parents, and that's something else I will do separately to my story, which I'm going to publish as a book because and it's mostly about the restaurant days, because I think they'll be interesting for people and the recipes that I developed as well. But my story, yes, I am definitely going to do a separate one and book for my kids and my grandchildren. I've got two grandchildren now. Eve's 16 and crazy teenager, and Ernie is 7 and gorgeous, and very bright, very, very bright. And I'm Gigi, by the way, just for anyone who isn't a grandma yet. I refuse to be called Nana or Gran or anything like that. It's Gigi, which stands for gorgeous, glamorous grandma. Thank you very much. And I stole that from Di Morrissey. That's not original either. So, but anyway, yes. Oh my God, look at this. One lady who turned was in the French. Oh my God. Oh my God, Lisa or Liza have. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. And well, yes. One of my clients, he was a war correspondent, and I can't use his name or anything, but oh my God, the story's there. The story. And he only wants them for his family, not shared or anything. But at least he's recording them, yeah. And the war, oh my God. Anyway, yes, and the French Underground, fantastic. And Deepa, working on a journey to peace, taking surprise messages from the resident for their family. Beautiful. But you know what? I would highly recommend putting them together in a central document so that you've got them all together. Because the family may not think of that. They might just go, oh yeah, oh that's lovely. Thank you, Deepa. But yes, do collect them. And that's what I want. That's why I did, I'm developing Remember Press, because I want everyone to have a really easy way of putting these all together and then creating that book and that whole life story. So, oh yes, good on you. Yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for your input. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Christine. It's been terrific to have you here.
Oh,
Thanks for
well,
your time and all of your stories.
so welcome. So welcome. Yeah. And yes. And do you want me to send you the mail big file to the slide deck and then you can share it with everybody? Would you?
Yes,
Yeah.
Marnie will send out a copy
Okay.
of the replay
Yeah.
of this webinar and you
And the
can
slide
add
deck.
your things to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Lovely.
everyone, that's what you'll be receiving.
Okay. Yeah. And please do. Don't hold back. I'm here and happy to chat anytime, as you might have guessed. Yeah. And thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I was blown away at the numbers and yeah, and it fills me with so much joy that there's so many people who understand the importance of this. So thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jackie and Marnie, for giving me the opportunity. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, Christine.
Pleasure.
Thanks everyone for being here, and we'll see you next month.
Okay.
Bye now.